Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, guys, what's going on? Welcome, one and all. Today is May the 12th, 2020. This is episode 14 of Pop Culture Warrior, the show where I stay up to date on all the ins and outs of what's happening in pop culture so you don't have to. I am CQ, your pop culture consultant, and with me as always, the gems to my infinity gauntlet, the voice of the unpop cultured, the mad titan himself, Mr. Radar. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, boss? How you been?
I'm good. How are you doing, sir?
Fucking amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I really am. I was looking forward to tonight. It really was.
Isn't it the best? Isn't it the best? I'm feeling a little
Yes.
dark. I might turn up my my light here a bit. So tell us how you're doing while I fuck around with this.
Man, I'm good. I'm really good. I've just been hanging out with the family, getting the camper ready. We're gonna go out for a little bit this weekend and spend some lake time and doing some fishing and just kind of living, man. It's good. It's good. Life is good, man. Everyone's like all freaked out about all the Rona and the Holocaust and all that bullshit, and now the murder hornets and I don't know. We need. There's no fucking Tiger King to come save us for this one. I don't even know what to do now, but you know.
I tell you, bro. I tell you. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, hey, everybody, welcome. Let us, if you're out there, man, let us know you're out there. Drop a comment and just let us know you're watching and you're tuning in. I know I see Mike on, I see Jose on, I see Stephanie, I see WTFNR mom. Everybody's in there, man. Drop a comment, let us know you're there. As always, super excited to be here. I don't know if you guys can check it out, but I'm rocking some official Pop Culture Warrior merch as provided by the Stream Element store. I mean, you can see the link is in the description, but tons of different merch, different logos, different designs, different color shirts. Grab some stuff while you're in there. And like we saw last week, if you buy something while we're live on air, we'll get like a whole little pop-up thing doing its thing up there in the corner. So I think that's always pretty cool. And the first person that bought something, I offered a free gimme just to being the first person, and they turned it down. They said that they didn't want it. Not that they didn't want it, that they wanted to pass it on to the next person. So the second person that now orders something while we're live on air will get a special gift from me from the show. And so we'll keep an eye out for that. Who else we got? How we the chats? Come on, guys, speak up. Don't be shy. Drop a line. Let us know you're doing. I see Stephanie was telling me the lighting's dark. You're right. You were absolutely right. You were spot on. I lowered it for a teleconference thing I was doing earlier and totally forgot to brighten it back up. So
whatever. You got the mood going. Don't even bullshit.
Yeah,
Like, you got some mood lighting and...
You should see what I do when I'm messing around with the lights in the back. One of these days I'll do a video where just messing around with the lights and goof off and whatnot. But yeah, so shout out to everybody that's on, man. Thanks for joining us. And as always, we have we've got the social medias and the things. So check us out on the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the all the ins and outs and the happenings and the what's it's and what's nots. Let's see if I can make it pop up. Here we go. Oh, it's not popping up. Damn you for not popping up. There it goes. No, damn it. When I think I have this thing working. Let's try it one more time. Yay! There it goes. You got the website, the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitter, everything. So like and subscribe and ring that bell and all that other crap you hear them say in every single video ever. Anyway, my friend, are you ready to get geeky with me?
Absolutely, I am. Let's do this.
Fantastic. We got lots to cover. We do have an awesome guest coming in on the second half of the show. Quinton Hardy. He's a Air Force veteran and comedian. He's absolutely phenomenal dude. Fun to talk to, man. I die laughing every time I chat with this guy. So he'll be in the second hour. For the first hour, let's cover some pop culture news. You know, I've been scrounging around. We're starting to see an end to all this. Like we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's hard for a lot of people, but they're, movie companies, gaming companies, they're all starting to make plans. They're starting to see an end to this and starting to make announcements. So, with that in mind, let's do. What do you think? Let's talk video games. Let's talk video games.
Hell yeah, let's talk video games.
Let's talk video games.
I'm all in this.
I know you like the video games. Let's see if I can make this work now. I've been messing around with my buttons, all my buttons. I'm one of these days I'm gonna have sound effects for these buttons. Which by the way, I have been working on my. I don't have sound effects, so. Right.
It's fucking perfect.
Right?
Love it. No!
So I've been messing around with some stuff. Anyway, so lots of gaming stuff coming out. People were asking me the other day, what do we have to look forward to as far as games? And I was like, well, let me actually dig into that. So let's go like this. So you see, we still got The Last of Us 2 coming out June 19th. Ghost of Shishimi. Apparently it's a sushi game. It's coming out July 17th. Cyberpunk 2077, which is the one that's got the Keanu Reeves in it, which I think is going to be a big hit. That's coming out September 17th. And Halo Infinite is set for holiday release. Now, there have been some other pretty big announcements as far as games coming out. And so what else? Just today announced, maybe you might have heard of this little thing, but do you remember Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2?
Fuck yeah.
The old
I think everyone
school.
our age does.
Yeah, the old school, the original skateboarding game, the first one that ever really kind of came out. They're remastering it. So basically, at Summer Game Fest, which is happening right now, Activision announced that Vicarious Visions is remastering the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 for release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The remastered game collection is set to release on September 4th and will include the original levels, skaters, tricks, modes, and soundtrack. The remastered edition will also include new gameplay modes that include online multiplayer. It's also announced details about pre-order bonuses for the game, so those who place digital pre-orders get access to the warehouse demo ahead of the game's launch, and those who do a physical pre-order will get a Tony Hawk mini fingerboard limited edition gift when they buy the game. Yeah, so
fucking fingerboard.
Yeah,
I thought those things went away.
I mean, they did,
but
but
God damn it, Tony Hawk! We gotta bring back all this stupid shit.
They're still
My
around.
fucking kids start wearing Vans and Jenkos and shit. I'm gonna be fucking mad at you, Tony Hawk.
Well, it's one of those things. Let's see what else. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna have skaters like Steve Caballero, Jeff Rowley, obviously Tony Hawk, Bob Gurnquist, Eric Costin. I mean, the list goes on and on. The remaster will bring all the levels from the original game, including Warehouse, including the Bull Ring. Each can be played solo, with new goals, old goals, local co-op, multiplayer, and the big difference is this game will be at 4K, running at 60 frames per second. So I want to show you what we got. Some screen grabs here. These are some screen grabs. This game looks gorgeous. I loved the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, back in the original days. I'll be honest that for me, the franchise got a little stale, and the controls were a little wonky. I preferred Skate. If you ever played the game Skate, it was so phenomenally good. But this is where it all began. This is the game that launched all of that, the same way that Grand Theft Auto launched first-person shooter, or not first-person shooters, open sandbox games, the same way that Call of Duty kind of revolutionized the online multiplayer, the team deathmatch, the same way that PUBG revolutionized Battle Royale. This is the game that kind of started that whole open world skating genre. So I'm very interested. Very interested. It looks, I mean, it looks sick. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Um, and yeah, I'm getting the sound. I'm still getting the sound effects are louder than me. I apologize about that. I'm gonna work on that. And so yeah, they're also bringing back Create a Skater, Create a Park, so you'll be able to, like go online and build all these parks and share it with your friends and all these crazy stuff. The same way you see a lot of like Grand Theft Auto videos of people that built racetracks and things like that. You'll have the same thing with the skating. This game will be available for $39.99 with a digital deluxe version featuring unique content and gear, also at $49.99. And if you a big baller, a $99.99 $100 collector's edition will feature extra digital content, and a limited edition birdhouse deck, skateboard deck, will be released with it. So, yeah, you think you could ever get tempted for some Tony Hawk? You relive the old glory days?
I could probably get on board with that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Actually, but you know what? Like $39, $40 is pretty reasonable for a new game.
I mean,
Honestly,
yeah, yeah,
I mean the $100 collector's edition. I'm probably out. Probably out. They're probably gonna have a lot of that for DLC though too. You could probably purchase a lot of that stuff. I'm sure they're gonna do in-game purchases and stuff now. That's kind of the bane of every game. You have to spend a little bit of money extra on top of it. So,
yeah.
um, that's kind of what I'm afraid of. Is that yeah, the $39.99 version is gonna be out, but it's gonna be like you only get so many maps, or a smaller thing to do.
Right.
But it's whatever. I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, it won't be tops of my list, I don't think, but I could probably get into it. I could probably dig it.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. So what else we got?
He said, "All right." He's like, "Whatever,
All right.
whatever, Radar. You just
All right.
don't buy it then."
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's not your thing. Whatever. Fuck us. Whatever. It's okay. It's
No,
cool.
I mean, I so much enjoyed it when I was a kid, and that's kind of remember we talked about like I'm kind of
Nostalgia. Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm more nostalgic about shit. Like I get all mad at like the remade fucking Disney live action shits because they don't have the right people in them. So, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun though, and I think it'd be so. What's really cool about it is you get a chance to introduce our kids to
Right.
that same kind of genre that we really enjoyed when we were
Yeah.
kids, with so much better graphics and so much more potential for all of the things.
Yeah.
It could really turn out to be an awesome experience.
And let's be honest, there's no other competition for it right now.
Absolutely.
There are no skating games. Everything is shooting, open sand world box game. Like
Mhm.
there is no Tony Hawk Pro Skater kind of competition anywhere on the market right now. So this
There's a
is prime time.
snowboarder one though. I don't know which one
Yeah.
it was. I saw the kids playing the snowboarder one. It's actually pretty cool. Actually, it was all like all the Winter X game stuff.
Right, right.
Right. And it looks way fun. And it's kind of it's real similar gameplay. I'm assuming to this, where different tracks and different things you need to do and stuff, and
Right.
um, challenges to do. But you can also just fuck around on it too. So
Yeah.
I think it. I mean, it's probably real similar in the game style, the gameplay. I don't remember what it was called. I'm sure my kids know. I just watched it for like 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, this is dumb. But right, Mike Larson, no one cared about skating since Rob Dyrdek ruined it. Right.
Nice.
What
Yeah,
the
well played. Well played.
The
Um,
best part about skating though is like you can get on YouTube and spend literally months watching kids bust their fucking grapes open going down fucking all these pipes and shit. That's so fun watching all these kids get hurt
yeah.
on YouTube.
That-
That's fun.
That is true. Hey, I see we got Fatima's on there and Peter's on there. Thanks for joining, guys. Man, shout out to you guys for jumping on. All right, so we talked about the skateboarding. Let's big transition here, and I'm working on the sound effects, guys. So tell me if it's still too loud. But let's try it. Might still be too loud. I'm working on it. Check this out. This was just announced it was actually last week, but we didn't get the chance to talk about it. The next Assassin's Creed game, Valhalla. I mean, this looks gorgeous. I love what they're doing with it. I love what they've announced about it. So basically this will be another addition in like the main series, the main franchise line, which basically the idea is that because there's been spin-offs of the games, right? Offshoots of the games. And so this is going to be. Um, sorry, guys. Apparently, it's still loud. I apologize. I'm gonna try my best to get that. Let's see if I can just mute it that way. So yeah, so this will be like based on the main franchise line, right? It's not one of the spin-offs that tells these side stories. This will be part of that main series. They're planning to release this year, and it's gonna be on both last gen and next gen. So you're gonna have PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PC, everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. Um, this is pretty cool, man. I got a couple of details I'll share with you guys. That's going to be awesome. The assassin is basically you're going to be able to do male or female. There'll be a dual, so you get to choose which gender you want to be. Um, Regardless of which you choose in Valhalla, the character is still named Evior. Evior. I'm butchering that. So we don't know much about him yet, but we do know that unlike other assassins in the past, he will start out a bit older. He's already established as a leader as opposed to like an up and coming guy, which we've seen. The soldier, the thief, the pirate. Kind of work their way up the ranks. He's kind of starting out at the top. They have both. I'm sorry, the studio confirmed that both the male and female versions are considered canon, but they're not really revealing how they've managed to make that happen just yet. We'll see. The story, I don't want to kind of go into the whole story part of it, but it is in the 870s AD. So obviously it's Norway, it's Vikings. There's very, that kind of feel to it. There will be parts of it that take place during the present day. So it's going to do that kind of past to present day transition that we've seen so many times. Um, you know, there's there's the core to the story, which is like assassins versus Templars. That's always been kind of the core of the game. So that they're saying that will still be part of this. They're still keeping with that. The trailer that they released did show the hidden blade, so that'll be part of it. There will be a companion, so he'll have an animal companion, which is going to be like the raven. So in previous games, we've seen like the eagle, and so obviously ravens are a big part of that Viking mythology. So you'll have a raven that adds to new things. There's going to be settlement building. So if you go back to like I think it was Assassin's Creed 3, that was kind of a part of it where you'd go to new places and build up these settlements. They've I guess brought that back after a very long hiatus, but in this game it's going to be more about building your main settlement versus like all these little mini settlements outside of the home. So it'll be you'll be recruiting people like a blacksmith and all these things. It's all there's a bunch of stuff that they want the focus to be like you're this guy that's going out and doing these things, but they're always kind of coming home and improving your home piece by piece. And the last thing is just bringing back a shield. We've seen lots of sword play. We've even seen some gun play in some of the Assassin's Creed. It was only in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where they had a shield as like a sword shield combo. And when they came out with the next one after that, that kind of went away again. So they're bringing it back for Valhalla, and you'll actually be able to dual wield weapons. So like shield, sword, shield, whatever. It's gonna look good. So. Whew, outside of that, we don't really have a specified release date just yet, but they are saying holiday 2020. So it will be this year. It will be, in the next couple months. Obviously, I'm sure there'll be 6 different versions of the game you can buy with the collectors and the digital and the gold plated and the character one and all the different things. But we already know it's coming out for pretty much every console in existence. So that's that. I'm going to try, God forbid, I'm going to try to transition back away from that and not have the sound blow you guys out of the water. What do you think, man? How does that all sound to you? I know you're not huge into the Assassin's Creed, mythology and games. Have you played any of them? Have you gotten a chance to try any of them?
I've played some. I'd
Okay.
be lying if I said I didn't play them. I just said I don't really care for that. I don't really. I guess I'm too fucking dumb. Too, I really am. I think that's what it boils down to. I'm too fucking stupid to like actually do a whole. I don't even play the campaign in Call of Duty anymore. It takes like 10 minutes. I don't even do that shit. But no, I mean it's they're fun. They're really interesting. I like how they kind of bring elements of real history into the game.
Hmm.
I appreciate that. I'm not very good at them. I never have been, and I haven't dedicated enough time to them. But I'm really excited to see this transition, not necessarily for this game in particular, but the last part where they'll be releasing it for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but it will also be released for next gen consoles.
Yep.
So it reminds me of like Call of Duty Ghost when it first came out. It was kind of like the first game that I saw that really went from Xbox 360 to Xbox One.
Yeah.
And there was a real measurable difference between the two. You could actually, it's kind of like the first time you plug in an HDMI cable or something. You know what I mean? You're like, holy shit, this is way fucking better. Why didn't I do this before? So it's kind of the same thing. So I'm really excited to plug in the new Xbox Series X and then get the game for both of them and plug and play and see just
Yeah.
how fucking different they are. I'm really excited about that prospect. I think that's going to be a real teller, especially with some of the screen captures and stuff that have been out for this game that's really got some potential.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can, I don't know, those things always kind of piss me off though, because sometimes it's just like the artwork that someone's come up with. They're like, oh, this cool.
Yeah,
this
there's
will
always
look
the
like
pre-production and versus the actual what it looks like, and the pre-game rendering and all that. There's always going to be a discrepancy.
Yep.
No, I definitely agree with you. We're about to hit that mark where we start transitioning from the previous generation to the next generation. And I think that Xbox, especially, their big thing is they've been promoting it as optimized for Series X. So basically saying like, this game was built way before the announcement of the Series X, but since the announcement, they've, ratcheted up the graphics and ratcheted up this, and so that to get the best version of it, you want to get the Series X. You'll still be able to play it, on the previous gen, but it'll look a lot better, and it'll load faster, right?
Right.
Because that's a big part of it. Is these things are so we're getting games that are so graphically gorgeous, so dense with multiplayer, single player story elements that the load times are starting to get a little crazy. And so that's a big thing for the Xbox Series X's, and I'm sure the PlayStation 5, they're putting a big premium on building those quicker load times. And I know especially with that whole, we talked about this, the quick resume feature, not only is your load time faster, but now you're not actually loading in between games. You can go from game to game to game to game where you left off without having to reload.
Right.
So that's going to be huge. That's for games that are these massive, huge 100 GB games. That's going to be huge. And I see you got a question from the audience. Pete says, how do you feel between the digital versus like the hard copies of games? I was, for the longest time, like everybody, only physical copies. I liked the ability to go, okay, I played this for however long. I can try to kind of burn through it if it's a quick single player game, and then return it to the store and get like 80% of my money back. And so, do that quick turnaround with GameStop or whatever. But I will say in the last 4, maybe 5 years, I've steadily been getting less and less physical copies and more digital copies. And I like it simply for the fact of like, just me being lazy, getting up to change the disc, putting the disc back in the case, trying to find the right disc or stack of games where I can just download and delete and do this and do that so much easier, so much faster. And then with something like Game Pass, if you pay the one fee, you have access to 100 digital games every month, and the rotation changes every couple months. So you just have this constant stream of games. I can honestly not tell you the last physical copy of a disc I bought, and I want to say it was Rock Band, the last Rock Band that just came out, Rock Band 4, which was I think 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I think was the last physical thing I bought. And I did it that way specifically for the fact that if I want to take the guitar and go to one of my buddy's house and play Rock Band there, I can just bring that physical disc instead of having to like download my username and then download the thing and then download this thing. So yeah, I think Pete, to answer your question, I think I'm much more into digital copies now, solely into digital copies, in fact, because I can't even think of the next physical, like the game that I'm like, wow, I want to get my hands on this game. There's just nothing out there that's maybe if a game had like some crazy cool exclusive, like I could add a figure to the back of my setup here, and I thought like, oh man, that's such a cool, I don't know, Spider-Man figure or something, and for that I might get a physical copy. But for that you can probably just buy it online and get the digital copy and then just see someone who's selling it. But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, the last physical disc I bought was Call of Duty Ghost. That was the last physical one I bought.
Ooh, that's almost a generation ago.
I know. I was right, and it was right when the Xbox One came out. I bought that. That was the last one I bought. And actually, I bought it for the 360, and then I bought an Xbox One and downloaded it. I didn't even. Well, you got to because that one you got like a free download.
Yeah.
You bought like the Xbox One. You already own the copy. There's a couple of games that were like that, but I remember very vividly that was, and because I did that. I got I had a TV in my living room and another TV, and I put them together, and they were the exact same model of TV because I wanted to see the difference in the graphics and all that stuff, and it just blew me away.
Big difference.
And after that, I was like, why should I even dick with it? Just download it, and then when you don't like it anymore, you just fucking delete it. You don't have a whole case of discs and all this other shit, and then I get drunk playing video games. I'm like, I want to try this one. And then all of a sudden I have this new game. And I'm like, well, fuck it. I already paid money for it. So, and it's just so fucking easy. Like, I don't know. I couldn't even imagine like if it came out where you had to buy them on physical copy, if I'd even do that. Right. Unless I bought some, because there was one actually I almost fucking bought it today. It was an old school Nintendo was on like the Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, ooh,
the old NES.
They got But I was like, that'd be kind of fun. But I don't even. And then like the games are fucking like $50 a piece again. Yeah. For those, you used to buy them for like $1 a piece at the garage sales and shit. Hey. But I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, Mike Larson, download because lazy wins. Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't drive anywhere. That's sitting in my boxer shorts at midnight. I'm not driving to Walmart to get a new video game. It's dumb.
Yeah, actually, so Mike Larson was joking around. He goes, "Well, would you get the game if it came with something like a skate deck, like for the Tony Hawk game?" And I'll have you know, you can't see it, but right up there, just out of frame, I actually have a Tony Hawk signed skateboard. That I got in the past. I guess I should bring it down one of these days. But I already have a bird deck that's signed by the Hawkness himself. So I don't need to spend $100 for a non-signed one. Thank you very much. But yeah. So that's gaming for this week. I mean, obviously it's a lot of slow news because of what's going on in the world. But yeah,
goddamn Holocaust keeping everyone locked in and shit.
I'm telling you, that Kung Flu, man, it's the one. But yeah, so in some, let's see if I can do this. Got a couple pieces. Hey, movie news. So this breaks my heart. It really does. But Disney theme parks, cruise lines, live experience, theatrical releases have all been severely impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Disney just revealed in its earnings statement that the earnings have plummeted 63% due to the outbreak, which it's estimating it has lost $1.4 billion with a B during this pandemic. And 1 billion of the 1.4 is strictly from the closure of the theme parks worldwide. So what are we at month 3, 2.5, something like that? We're like 2.5 months into this thing. And they've lost $1.4 billion in earnings because of this shutdown. I mean, could you name another company that could take a $1.4 billion hit and then just, pick up like nothing, like still be around?
Yeah, but do you think they're going to be able to? Do you think they're going to be able to shake it off? Just fucking shake it off, be like, all right, we're back. like Tyson or some shit. I don't think they're gonna be able to do it, man. I don't know. They're gonna have to cut the fat somewhere. I
Yeah.
mean, really.
I mean, it's scary. It's scary, man. I hope we never live in a lifetime where something like Disney isn't around anymore because that's a staple of our childhoods. That's a staple of our child's childhood.
Hmm.
That's our Marvel movies. That's our Star Wars. I mean, none of that stuff is ever going to go away. Somebody would buy the rights to it and produce it. But obviously, Disney's been doing a good job at it the last couple of years. I I I want to be optimistic and I want to say that I really do feel like they can get through this. How quickly can they be back up to full strength and all that? I mean, that's a lot's left to be said. I'll tell you what, the only thing that could get me back into theaters in the next couple weeks is if they're like, "Hey, man, we're dropping, Black Widow. We're dropping the next, Avengers thing or whatever. The next Marvel thing um, would be the thing that could really kind of forced me to go back to theaters. But like, there's unfortunately, and I'm a big movie lover, but there's just nothing that I think could be announced right now that would be like, oh, I've got to rush off to the theater and see that. So I'm hoping that a lot of people are like me, and when they do say, okay, we're back, we're ready, we're dropping this next Marvel movie. Um, Mike says, what about Milan in July? I was really excited to see the Milan movie, and I don't know if July is going to be if I'm going to feel comfortable going into theaters just yet. I mean, it depends what the CDC says and all these health organizations say, but yeah, Milan isn't the thing that's going to drive me to theaters just yet. I know it's sad because I was really looking forward to it. I think it looked pretty cool. But yeah, so that's kind of bummer news. Hopefully, they're gonna recover from this. I would the timing of it really kind of sucks because like I said, last year they spent like $70 billion to acquire Fox and all of its properties, which ate up basically all of their reserve cash, and then they dropped the streaming service, which you go, okay, well they're gonna generate revenue for that, but they were so eager to get people on board. Like I got a 3-year membership for like $80, which comes out to like $3 a month. That's not
Right.
that's not gonna keep them afloat. I feel like had this happened and then they were like, oh, let's drop the streaming now, 19.99 a month, that might have been a good time because people would have been desperate to, eat up all this, Netflix and Hulu's and all that stuff. They're trying to find stuff to watch. That might have been the perfect time to drop. Like I think HBO Max just dropped. So that might be striking while the iron's hot. But yeah, I got an early adopter for a ridiculously low price, and so that's kind of probably biting them in the butt too because they're obviously paying for all the infrastructure and all the licenses and all the different things to keep this streaming service available. And I can't imagine that they're bringing in a ton of money with it just yet.
No, I can't
Once
imagine they are either.
you
They
know,
just can't. I mean, because look at, I know if you have Verizon, you get like a year for free or some shit.
yeah,
Like they have
yeah,
all these different free deals for it.
yep. You're
God,
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I feel like something like the obviously it's nice to go nostalgia strolling down the memory lane and you want to watch Lady and the Tramp or you want to watch the original Lion King or whatever. It's great to have that. Or like the other day I was watching Darkwing Duck just cuz I needed something to have in the background and the old X-Men cartoons. That's awesome. But what's going to make or break them is their original content, and outside the Mandalorian, we haven't really seen their original content offering yet. The docu series is that they've been releasing are fantastic. I watched the Mandalorian one, Disney Gallery. I watched there's one on props, which I love behind the scenes stuff. So like I loved Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So they did Honey I Shrunk the Kids. They did an episode on all the props from Honey I Shrunk the Kids. So all these docu series are great, but we need to start seeing their hard hitting stuff, right? We've seen the Mandalorian. We're getting more. We already know we're getting more. I want to see, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to see WandaVision. I want to see Loki. I want to see all these series coming out, and I think that's going to make people drive them towards the service. But yeah, I hope that they can bounce through this and get through it. So we'll see.
I'm sure they'll do something. I mean, like you said, even if they don't remain intact as the company they are right now, Disney's not going away.
Right.
They're not. And
Right.
they have too much potential to make money. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to Disney World or Disneyland, either one. But my brother and his wife go all the time, and my buddy's wife goes like every other year or some shit. And the cost of the things is fucking ridiculous when you get there. I mean, I can't believe they don't fucking make money normally enough to kind of weather the storm. And I'm sure their investors and all that are probably like, well, we got all these things. But I really think they have the potential to really pick up and maybe trim some fat, trim some of the shit that they don't really make as much money on. But they seem to be innovative enough that they should be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing: if let's say if another company bought them, which would have to be like an Apple or an Amazon, somebody that's just ridiculously, huge, um, they would make it. I can't imagine they're ever gonna go like, we're gonna do away with the Disney name. Like they're just not going to. They'd be ludicrous. So it would be, Apple's Disney or something like that, or a Disney. So I don't know, something. There's just no way they're ever gonna get rid of that. Got a question.
no, there's no.
Question from the audience. Pete says, "Do I know anything about Back to the Future?" I know everything about Back to the Future. That's that's my favorite movie of all time. You can see I've got a flux capacitor right back there, signed by Doc Brown himself, Christopher Lloyd. There's a Lego DeLorean back there. So yeah, I know everything about Back to the Future. If you're asking if there's ever gonna be a part four, that shit ain't happening. They're never. Let me tell you something. They're never gonna reboot it. They're never gonna remake it. They're never gonna sequelize it. The closest you'll ever see, there was a limited run cartoon and limited run comic book that were considered canon and told a story from the perspective of Doc's kids. And like Marty and Doc were involved, but it was mainly about the kids and the hijinks they were up to. And then the comic had a couple of stories about Marty and Doc. That's the closest thing you'll ever see to that. I did post, if you guys aren't on the Pop Culture Facebook page, shame on you. But I did post on the Pop Culture Facebook page. It was Josh Gad just did he has a new series called Together Apart or something like that, Virtually Apart, something, I don't know, something like that. But basically he's doing like these reunion shows. His first episode was the Goonies. He brought back all the original Goonies and directors and all this stuff, and they geeked out. Second episode was Back to the Future. He had Doc, he had Marty, he had Lorraine, he had everybody. Obviously he didn't have Crispin Glover because that guy still is not happy about what happened, that whole behind the scenes stuff. But he had pretty much everybody except the guy that played Marty's father, the guy that played Biff, but pretty much everybody else. He had both Jennifers. People don't sometimes realize that there was two different Jennifers. He had both Jennifers. He brought in Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis in the News, talk about Power of Love. He had the directors, he had the writers, the music people. Very cool. Very cool. It's a 27-minute video. Totally worth a watch. They reenact some scenes. They ask each other questions. They talk about the past. It was awesome. My little Back to the Future heart exploded. It was so cool. And yeah, so definitely check that out. That'll give you your Back to the Future fix that it gave to me. Yeah, I mean, you like Back to the Future, right? Right?
I do. I love it. And actually, you know what? It made my heart really happy the other day. I came in from doing something. I was cleaning the garage or some shit. And the kids, on their own accord, were sitting there watching Back to the Future 2. Just on their own. They were sitting there watching. I was like, I was proud of them. I was like, you know what? I'm doing something right as a parent.
You win, man. You win. That's beautiful. I bring it to the day I can sit my kid down to watch that movie. Oh, I don't know. I get emotional just thinking about it because it's such a, and I've watched it recently. I have. It holds up. I mean, for a movie that's like 35 plus years old, it holds up. I mean, better than most movies. Better than most. I mean, there's movies like the second Matrix movie where you're like, ugh, that doesn't really hold up well.
Right.
But for Back to the Future to hold up as well as it does, I mean, it's just a testament. So Mr. Kaz, hey, what's up, buddy? Hanging out in the chats, appreciate you. He says, I'm sad that Back to the Future 2 got nothing right about 2015. Listen, I let's not say nothing. Let's not say nothing. Obviously, we don't. I mean, flying cars are kind of right. Hoverboards, kinda,
They
kinda,
tried. They tried. They
kinda.
video conferencing though. They
Video
had video
conferencing,
conferencing on
right?
there.
The
Yeah.
hologram VR technology, very
Mhm.
there. The screen. Remember, he's watching the giant screen. He's like it. I mean, they didn't even call it flat screen. It was like this curtain screen, but like we have flat screens that are that wide and can do multi pictures. The thumbprint IDs. Walking in and out of your house with using your thumbprint, you could do that. Self driving cars. The accurate weather, AccuWeather forecast. I mean, there's some stuff there that I mean, Nike released the shoe, the actual shoe, the self tying shoe. It's like impossible to get. It was like $1,000 or whatever. And now they're like super rare. I One day I will have one. I will have one. But
Fucking
fax.
life goals.
Mike says fax machines. Yeah, fax machines. No, I guess the rehydrator. I mean, that'd be cool. Like if you could put a little pellet food in and a big pizza comes out. I mean, kind of, because you can rehydrate things. So yeah, I mean the glasses. He had the glasses that could do telephone calls and things like that. I mean, we've seen the was it the Google Eye and like all these different things, the devices that have access to that stuff. So yeah, weird fashion trends. Some right, some not. Hit or miss. But again,
They weren't completely off, dude. I'll give them some
yeah,
credit there. I think they did all right, honestly.
and for a film that was
For
made in the '80s that was representing 2015, that's 35 years, past or no, 25 years, 35. My math is terrible. 35 years, let's say. They were taking a lot of shots in the dark, and I thought they did pretty good considering. I mean, I'm still waiting for my time machine, but he built that in the
mm,
'80s. That wasn't even a future thing. Like he built that during the '80s. He built his time machine, so the '80s failed us, if anything. I want,
yeah,
I want my,
fucking 80s,
I want my
full of
damn
some
time
bullshit.
machine. Oh man. Hey, what's up, Jacob? I see Jacob in the chats. Yes, my Corona beard. Yeah, it's getting out of hand. I joked when this whole thing started. I said, you know what? I'm not gonna shave until this whole quarantine's lifted. I'm getting to a point where I don't like this anymore. I like people are getting stir crazy in their house. I'm getting stir crazy with a beard. Yeah, this is definitely got to go. The quarantine beard's got to go. What else we got? Oh, one last bit of movie news. This dude does it all. Tom Cruise is at it again. We talked not that long ago about how he tried to convince the Navy to let him fly an F-16 off an aircraft carrier, and they're like, "Yeah, you can go fuck yourself. You're not doing that." For I think it was for not I think it was for the next Top Gun movie that's coming out. He's apparently working with NASA to shoot a movie in space. This is real news. This is real. For his next stunt, Tom Cruise is going to be headed to space. So on Tuesday, this was it last Tuesday? This Tuesday. It was today. Today's Tuesday. Shit. Today's Tuesday. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine announced the organization, NASA, is collaborating with Tom Cruise on a movie that will be filmed aboard the space station. He said NASA is excited to work with Tom Cruise on a film aboard the International Space Station. We need popular media to inspire a new generation of engineers and scientists to make NASA's ambitious plans a reality. So, Deadline reported last Monday that Cruise, Elon Musk's SpaceX, and NASA were working together to do the first narrative feature film to be shot in space. This isn't going to be part of Mission Impossible. This isn't going to be part of any franchise that exists right now. There's no studio is even attached at the time, and so yeah, this is gonna be crazy, right? Like they're gonna literally shoot a movie in space. I like the balls on this guy. Like we know he's jumped building to building. We know he's flown helicopters and planes. We know he what is he clung to the side of like a C-17 and it took off and flew around and he's clinging to the side of it. But the balls on this guy to be like, you know what? Let's do it in space, man. No more wires. Like we're gonna get real zero G and do some crazy stuff. Like I don't think this guy will be sated until he kills himself filming a movie. Your thoughts?
God, you're not far off. I don't think he's fucking relentless. I'm really surprised that NASA's fucking getting on board with this, and I wonder like how this is actually going to work because there's not a lot of room on the space station, not for a whole like sound crew and like all this shit. Like I don't even know how they're going to do it. If I'm
Yeah.
honest, I don't know if I'm excited or not. I think fucking
That's the thing.
SpaceX ain't really throwing a real person in space yet. There's all kinds of shit. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong, and he seems to be fucking.
That's
He
it.
seems to be
We got some
dancing all
great
around all
comments,
that shit.
dude. Great comments. Kama Boss says SAG won't let him make a movie with a non-union crew. Kaz comes back with, does SAG have jurisdiction in space? So that's a great question. That is maybe he's skirting some laws, but he's like, well, technically, I'm not in America if I'm floating above it. Yeah, Mike says it's episode 14 of Space Force on Netflix. Yeah, that could be a thing. So I don't know. I don't know. I just the mind spirals when you think about the possible like ramifications. I mean, how is this going to work? How do you can you even steady cam in space? Like, sound. There's no sound in space, so like, how is that going to affect the sound
Well,
quality?
there's sound on the space station.
Oh, obviously, I know. But I'm saying, like, how does the absence of space of sound around the ship, like, does that interfere with, like, have you ever seen? Well, I guess because I'm comparing it to like watching when the astronauts do like a live thing, but that's them transmitting the signal back to Earth. Versus if it was all recorded up there and then brought back down, it would probably sound and look a lot better.
Yeah, it'd have to. It'd have to. But
They'd have to go real low, like low quality though, because they're not gonna be taking the big IMAX cameras up there and the big 4K cameras up there.
no,
So
there's no room. It's like the
they need
size of a fucking phone booth,
they
man.
need
I
like
know a
those.
lot of the younger listeners don't know what a phone booth is, but they're not very big. I mean,
Oh
so
man.
I can't believe they'd have those big steady cams and shit and all that. You can't. And like I said,
Yeah,
one person's going to be the camera guy and the sound guy and the director and the fucking all of it.
yeah. And I mean, the thing about like the shadows, because like, it's lit from every direction. So like, if you got a camera crew, like, I mean, you have to worry about the shadows playing the thing, and how you acting in that small space. Chad is in the chats. What's up, Chad? He says Tom Cruise won't pass the crazy test to be allowed to go into space. I mean, they've let him do anything else. I mean, what has it like? Literally, the Navy telling him no, you can't fly in it. That shocked me. That
Right.
absolutely shocked me. I was like, wow, even there's certain things he can't get. Um,
Yeah, he just wanted to launch off the front. He didn't want to trap on it. He just wanted to launch, which I feel like
yeah,
the fucking jet does on its own.
I
You know what I
mean,
mean?
I
Well, I
don't
know
know.
they put it it's like an autopilot thing for him. They just put it on the fucking cat and they fucking shoot him off, right?
I know I wouldn't want to be behind the stick. I don't autopilot or no. I don't.
Right.
I
No,
don't
but what I'm saying is like for the takeoff and the landing is the hard part on the carrier. Trying to trap on the carrier is almost, that takes a lot
yeah.
of practice. But he's a fucking pretty decent pilot. I mean, he's flown a
I
lot of
mean, yeah.
crazy shit. I think he
He
owns his
is.
own like shit. I don't know. I saw the other day because I'm poor, right? I mean, I'm not poor, but I'm not like Tom Cruise fucking rolling around. Did you see like there's a dude he bought like 22 fucking F-18s from the Canadian Air Force or some shit. Dude bought his own like Air Force.
I was not aware of this.
I don't find the story, but I mean, I feel like if this fucking some random dude in Canada could be like, I want to buy some F-18s, he could have bought his own F-18. Like, hey, can I just fly it off the carrier? Like, he just put it up there, like,
Well,
I'll fly it off.
I want to say, that to me, I think that's the sticky point. I really believe if he goes, hey, I want, out of Andrews Air Force Base, I want to take off in an F-18 or whatever, they'd be like, meh, okay, sure. I think it's specifically because he wanted to do an aircraft takeoff that's where they drew the line. I mean, I don't know about you, I've seen those videos where guys that are training to do this professionally screw it up. Bad landings, bad takeoffs, mishaps, what have yous. So I can understand clearly why the Navy's like, no, no, you
Right?
cannot do this.
They
Um,
barely want their pilots doing it, if I'm honest.
exactly, exactly. I mean, that's supposed to be like a mission critical thing, not like a hey, it's Tuesday, let's fire off some jets off the runway, you know. So yeah, so I mean, it goes to show you like there are limits even to Tom Cruise level of celebrity and money. Um, but that's absolutely nuts. Yeah, anybody want to buy me an F-18? I'll take a Canadian one. I don't mind. It's okay. I'll take a Iranian one. I don't care. I don't care who built it. A Russian one. Give me an F-18,
Yeah,
man. I'm down.
fucking cause. It's right. So, okay, hold on.
Okay.
So, for the last 30 years, Don Curlin had been flying for the airlines, working on real estate deals, set up the world's biggest skydiving meets, and building a private air force. Just last month, the war zone was among the first to report that his company would be purchasing multiple squadrons. God damn it. Multiple squadrons of surplus Royal Australian Air Force F-18 Hornets to be used in the contractor adversary air support role here in the United States. In that role, they fly primarily against U.S. military fighter pilots replicating aerial threats from potential enemy nations. So basically, they're bad guys for hire, but strictly for training and development work. So this guy bought a shit ton of F-18s, right? And he's gonna and he's like standing in front of this one, like it's an F8, probably a Charlie.
Hmm.
I can't see the back of it. I don't know. Well, the export ones are a little bit fucked up anyway, but I mean it's still a pretty fucking advanced jet, right? It's not just like, because sometimes you buy trainers and shit, but this dude's like no joke, got his own fucking F-18 Hornet. Like that'd be sweet. He's got a couple of them. I don't remember. It says it's the lady. I'm not gonna read the whole article because it's kind of boring. Dude, I bought a bunch of them, and he's like, "Well, fuck it. I'm just gonna fly these bitches around." And like, I feel like if he can do it, Tom Cruise could rent one from the dude. I'm sure he's got more money than God. Like, he can get his own fucking Hornet and fly that bitch out. I mean, look at the front of it. Yeah, it's still got the jack on the front to hook to the catapult. Dude's ready to go. I'm sure it's got the hook on the back. Like, it's got a refueling probe out. Probably still has a cannon in it. Probably still has a fucking.
Yeah, like that's the he bought for causes. He bought 46 of them. Good lord.
Yeah,
Oof.
exactly. I feel like Tom Cruise could buy one of them,
I
right?
mean, I, I mean, look, I know. John Travolta had a runway installed behind his house so that he could land. Like he has like I don't know, it's not like a Boeing, but it's one of those big, private ones, private jet, and he built a runway behind his house so he could just land his massive private jet and park it right behind his house. I mean, these guys, they got it like that. I don't see.
The same dude, prior to his Hornet purchase, Curlin's most outlandish import was not just one, but four MiG 29 Fulcrums. So dude's got MiG 29s and F 18s. So dude's like a real life fucking Tony Stark. You know what I mean? Just buying all this shit up. Fuck it. Why the fuck not?
I mean, yeah, and funny enough, let's take it all the way back to pop culture. Did you know they originally pitched the idea for Iron Man for the MCU? They pitched it to Tony Stark, to Tom Cruise. They wanted him to be. He was the choice before Robert Downey Jr. And he turned it down. He said he didn't see any validity in it. He didn't think it would be successful, and so he turned down the role of Tony Stark. And Robert Downey Jr. was the second runner-up. And yeah, that's imagine Tom Cruise as Tony Stark.
That'd been fucking amazing. That'd be so fun.
Who knows where the Marvel universe would be right now if that were the case? But
What? These ones aren't even. I'm sorry. I'm still reading on this dude. These are like. This thing got the same radar as the F-18, the Charlie Delta, and the new Super Hornets. It's got the same boat, the same radar in it. These aren't like the old beat up ones. A lot of times you see these guys importing this shit and it's all beat up and like got like a million airframe hours and shit. These are fucking like nice birds. These are probably better than what the Marines are flying. This guy just bought his own. That's fucking awesome.
yeah, why
I
not?
want this.
Why?
Man, I wish I was rich. Why do I gotta be all fucking poor and shit? This is ridiculous.
Well, let me know if we hit it big, buddy.
If we hit it
we'll
big,
go out and we'll splurge on a couple of Hornets and F-18s and whatnots. Yeah,
I'll go fucking. Why isn't fucking Tom Cruise just buy his own aircraft carrier? He's fucking rich. Get with Elon Musk and like Scientology buddies and shit. That's right, Mike Larson.
He probably could. Yeah, no, and Mike brought up a good point though. Tom Cruise is like 4'2". He teeny tiny. That would make a weird Iron Man. The immediate change is they wouldn't have been able to use Pepper Potts. What's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow. She's way too tall. Way too tall alongside Tom Cruise. So there would have been a whole different person cast as Pepper if Tom Cruise had taken the job. But
some midget porn star or some shit.
That's terrible.
I mean, fucking, I don't know. That's why Tom Cruise couldn't fly the F-18. He couldn't reach the rudder pedals and shit.
Oh,
like, sorry,
man,
buddy.
they couldn't climb. He couldn't climb in. They didn't have a booster seat for the F-18. All right, guys, we've come up to the end of the first hour. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I see, what was it? Well, I see a couple people. Grace, I see a couple people that joined in. I mean, thanks for joining in. Yeah, we've got awesome. Stay tuned because we've got the amazingly talented, funny, hilarious Air Force veteran Quinton Hardy, comedian, going to be joining us and talking us. We're going to talk all about comedy stuff. I'm super excited to have this conversation. He's a very funny guy, and I think you guys are going to get a kick out of the interview. Yeah, with that, we'll be back soon. What say you, Radar? You ready for break?
Yeah, let's go do some shots.
Let's go do some shots. All right, guys, we'll be back in a minute. Shots.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Looking up and fading out, cirrus shapes I found blow me away. Van Allen ride pushing through. Skin is brown, nature has us trapped in fear. So I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there
Call the show now at 415-889-8367. The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey guys, we're back with Pop Culture Warrior. I am, of course, CQ. I got Raider on the line, and I'm really excited. I'm super excited. I have got a incredibly funny guy on the line right now. We were literally cracking up while we're on break. We're just cracking each other up. Guys, let me introduce you to the very funny Air Force veteran turned comedian, Quinton Hardy. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, man. This is wild. I never imagined to be doing something like this on a quarantine. It's amazing.
Well, I'm glad I can provide opportunities to alleviate your boredom.
Oh, trust, this is perfect. I was just watching a documentary on LSD. So this is the best.
And now we're gonna get all types of trippy on you. All right, so just to let people know about the kind of shit we were talking about behind the scenes, we were comparing branches of service. How did we even get on that, by the way? Because we said Army. I think you compared Army to Walmart. Or no, was that mom? Mom, I was said Army was.
That was me.
Okay, mom was there. You go. Hey, mom. She was saying that the Army is like Walmart. I said that's highly disgraceful. That we are at least the target. And you, Quentin, said what it was.
The Air Force is like Wegmans.
Wegmans, which I disagree with. I think you guys are closer to a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods. So that had us going for a bit. So if you guys are in the chats, man, drop us, your what you think the Army, the Air Force, the Marines are like. I'm interested to see what you guys think. But yeah, man, Quentin, thank you for coming on the show. Let's dive right into it, man, because there's so much I kind of want to dig into your brain. We've known each other for a little while now. I was kind of around when you first got your start into comedy, but I've never got to sit down with you and really kind of take a trip down your brain path. You know what I'm saying? and dig in deep. So give us real quick a super quick synopsis, a bio. How what was your military service like? How'd you get involved, or how'd you end up there, and what'd you do?
Yeah, man. So I was a 1-0, which is a intelligence analyst for the Air Force. I never wanted that job. I wanted all medical jobs. That's what I was trying to go to school for when I was in college. I hated it. But my mom was paying my tuition, and I couldn't leave college. So I kind of didn't tell her I was thinking about joining the military. So I just kind of found a ASVAB for Dummies book. And then for the entire semester, I was just reading and studying how to pass the ASVAB. And on our dream sheet, you put all medical jobs, and I was like, "Hey, recruiter, can you tell me what an intelligence analyst is?" He's like, "What? That's like the James Bond of the military. You're gonna be jumping out of helicopters and trains." And I was like, "Of course I want that job." So I put that at number 10, and obviously I got that job instead of all the medical jobs. I think the funny part was I was gung-ho about joining the Air Force because I joined right in the beginning of like Facebook. And there was this like basic training Facebook group. Like if you're going to basic training on this day, you should join this group.
Right.
So I kind of met everyone who was going to be on that bus ride too. And there was this one girl from like California. I was like, dang, she is smoking. And I found out we had the same job title. So I was like, I'm going to be with tech school with this girl? That's going to be my wife.
All right.
Long story short, she got married in tech school with another guy. But
so close.
I was so close. I was gung-ho about it. And as soon as I got off the bus to Lackland, at that moment, I realized, like, yeah, I'm getting out of the military as soon as my enlistment is over. This is, I'm doing the whole pick up the bag test. Like, pick up the bag, drop it, pick up the bag, drop it. Like, this is not what I signed up for.
This is not what you signed up for. So remind me, what's your background? Where'd you come from? Where'd you live before all this?
I'm from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
North Carolina, New Bern, North Carolina. Small country town.
I'm surprised that the Army didn't convince you, because we got Fort Bragg down there. I know that Raleigh is that's the big one. Never thought to join the Big Green.
So here's the thing. I have two older stepbrothers, one in the Marine Corps and one in the Army, and they both told me don't join neither of them. But I think it's because like I was the runt of the litter. I was a slow kid. I'll say I was special, and they're like, Quentin, you would be mentally you will be destroyed if you join these two branches. So it was between the Air Force and the Navy, and yeah, I'm not cool with being around that much of water. So
Not a big swimmer. Is that what I'm getting? Not a big swimmer.
see, I'm an Eagle Scout, so I've
Oh.
just been swimming all my life. It's just I've been swimming for fun.
Mm,
Once you make swimming a job,
mm.
like I got to go to basic training and jump in water, I'm good.
There's a difference for people to know, the swimming for fun and swimming to not drown, because that's what they're trying to do to you. There's a big difference.
I mean, but even like the PT test, like I'm like I used to run track. I love running, but as soon as I am timed to do a mile and a half, yeah, this is stupid. And I don't want to hear your army. You just had to run a mile and a half, pansy. Yes,
Yeah.
that was our PT test.
Yeah, no, that trust me, I've given it good for that. No, I 100% understand where you're coming from. I was in the infantry, right? So
Yeah.
it was all about physical fitness. Everything was run, push, jump, all this climb. And my wife gets on my ass all the time. She goes, you don't, for someone who did all this, and like we did 3-a-day workouts and we're climbing up mountains. Like, you don't like to work out. And I'm like, no, I used to get paid to do that. That's why I did it. I'm not getting paid now, and I'm not going to turn around and pay someone else so that I can go work out. My wife loves to run marathons, and I'm like, I can't fathom why you would pay money to go run on the street. That
See,
doesn't make sense to me.
and that's why I think like a lot of veterans, you see them with like nasty, gnarly beards. It's like I've been paid to shave my entire life. I am going to grow this bad boy out.
Yep. Yep. They grow out the long hair. They grow out the beard. I'm guilty of it right now. I've got the quarantine beard going, but that's just because I'm too late. I was like, if
Oh,
I
that's
can't
gonna. Oh, when you go to a barber, that's gonna be majestic. I can't wait to see you.
get all cleaned up, trimmed up real nice, hell yeah, man. All right. So Air Force, or from North Carolina, Air Force. Doing the intel. So just to be clear, you didn't become Black James Bond, is what you're telling me.
No, not
Okay.
far. To be honest, what my job really was, I was a briefer.
Mm,
And being from the South, where I barely knew how to speak English, that's where most people like failed and got washed back from the course.
mm,
Because again, like you can watch the news now. What you say is very, very important.
obviously.
And I have this thing where, like, I guess I have like a verbal pause where a lot of times I just say kind of, sorta, or same, or same difference.
Yeah.
And in the and in the military, they're like, "What is that?" Like, I'm briefing to a fake 4-star just to prep myself for it, and all the time it's high threat. The 4-star is super angry. I've never met an angry general before,
Right.
and it just scared you to always be on your guard and how to research.
Yeah.
And I think learning how to talk and learning to speak in front of a group of people, the transition from that into comedy, it was kind of it made me feel good because I was like, all right, cool. I'm not, the public speaking part is the easy part for me.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, dude, how do you not have a bit in your comedy yet about briefing generals and saying like same difference? Like that's the punchline. You're like, oh, we destroyed the Taliban. Yeah, we did that years ago. You mean ISIS? Yeah, same difference. like how, like that would be phenomenal. Oh my God, that'd be so good.
I would love to, but my whole thing is like when you go to a crowd in bumfuck Nebraska
Right.
and you're trying to explain. My biggest fear is like in the veteran community, they will get it hands on.
Yeah.
But for people that just automatically talk with a drawl and they have their own little sayings,
Mm-hmm.
will they understand how that would be? So I never thought of it until I actually started talking to you. I might need to write this down.
Here's the thing. No, I completely understand it. We have had conversations in the past about comedy, and well, here before we get into that, let's talk about how you made the transition from the military to comedy. So when did you get out, and how soon after that did you find yourself transitioning into comedy?
Shit. I got out 2014, 2015. I got out after my enlistment was done, and I was while everyone else was because I was when you're when you did that when you're doing your enlistment, the number one thing you always talk about is getting out.
Right.
Like that was when you go to any house party. So what are you gonna do when you get out? I'm gonna open up a weed shop and I'm gonna be killing it.
Right.
And
Right.
so for me, luckily I didn't have any kids or anything like that, so I was able just to get out scot free, and I decided to go to school, and that was the biggest mistake because the transition from military to school was something that they never really explained to people.
Sure.
And when you're so used to being disciplined and having people like-minded like yourself, to being around 18-year-olds all day,
Mm.
you can drive you insane. On top of that, you can't even get a job. So I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, in school, getting turned down from barista jobs at Starbucks because I was too overqualified, broke. So I decided to move to DC. I met a girl, and we are just watching like Netflix specials, and she was like, "I was like, hey, babe, I think I can do that. People say I've been funny all my life." And she was like, "You've never been funny once. You've never made me laugh." So I found out about the ASAP, Armed Service Arts Project, and I signed up for it. Funny story about that. Apparently, I got rejected from that course.
Wait,
But
before you got in, you got rejected.
well, they never sent me the rejection letter.
Oh.
So I knew when the date was to come to the class. But when I got there, they was like, "Oh, we already have our amount of people. You shouldn't even be here."
Get out of here.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
So they're like, "Well," so I was like, "Do I just go home now?" Now it's like finding out Narnia exists. And like, I didn't know you can get disqualified from comedy. Are you serious? Did you? So I was just kind of arguing with Sam
Wow.
about it. So you're like, "No, you can just sit here." So I was sitting in the back on that first day of class, not even with the group. And on that first day, they're like, "Hey, tell us a funny story." That was the first,
Right.
pretty much the first course. Tell us a funny story. I had no idea about this. So pretty much like we're doing now, you're like, "How about you, man, in the back, not part of the group? Do you have a funny story?" Well, boo 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 boo. And y'all were like, "Just come back next week." So that's kind of how I
That's so
started
funny.
doing comedy.
That's so funny. I clearly remember being in the class, and I was a mentor at the time, and I remember thinking like, oh wow, this guy's funny. This guy's got like just that raw talent that obviously you need to learn the tools and the methods and the tricks and things, but that you just had a natural air about you that was funny.
Sure.
I don't recall. I guess that conversation had happened way above my head that you weren't supposed to be there. But I just remember thinking like, oh man, they picked a good guy for this, because the idea is that they pick 12 veterans, family members, support members, whatever, and it's a good mix, and like if you grabbed any 10 people, let's say, there's going to be some that are naturally funny, and there's going to be some that like need a lot of work. So I remember clearly, and I don't do this to blow smoke, but thinking like, oh wow, this guy is one of the guys that just has it. He just has that thing that when he talks, people listen. When you kind of, like, you almost command attention because you're so outlandish. So that's
Appreciate.
no, yeah, no, it's so funny, man. It's so funny. Okay, so you start doing the comedy thing. You do the 6-week course. You have your grad show at one of the most legendary stages ever, the DC Improv.
DC Improv.
I mean, you think, Chris Tucker's been there, Jerry Seinfeld's been there. I mean, Kevin Hart's been there. Everybody who's anybody has performed on that stage. It's a great stage. What are you feeling when you have your first ever time in the spotlight?
Honestly, I think anytime you walk into like a comedy club, it's the pictures on the wall. You see all the famous comedians that have stood on this same stage that's never changed in decades. and you're like, holy crap, I am standing where such and such has been standing. Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, Patrice O'Neal, every comic that you look up to or heard about or just laughed once upon in your life, you're standing on that same block. And you get butterflies in your stomach. You don't even know if what you're going to say really is funny. and and you got people that kind of, and people that you bring with you, which is kind of weird because I think everybody that you bring with, they secretly want you to bomb.
You think so? You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
Secretly, it's like, because I mean, for me, it was a secret. Every time I went to the class, no one knew what I was doing Sunday afternoons.
Well, I mean, you weren't supposed to be there anyway, so it was a secret.
Like, I gotta go, guys. Oh, we're just hanging out. We're at the pool chilling. No, right. I got a thing I gotta do. And then we were like, hey, we got some free tickets. Hey, you want to come see my comedy show? What? Yeah, it's at the DC Improv. All right. And it's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah. So would you say that, like, let me ask you this. It was a 6-week program, right? You did it once a week for 6 weeks, and then you did the comedy show at the DC Improv. When did you really go like, oh, this is for me. I want to do this for real?
The truth, during the middle of one of the best things about the 6-week course is the field trip kind of thing where you go to your first open mic. That, just to paint the picture, open mics suck. There's never, because you never know what's going to be. For my first open mic, we went to a sports bar where the Washington Redskins, the Redskins, the Wizards, and the Nationals or the Capitals, one of those white people sports, somebody was playing, right. And all three. So no one at this open mic gave a crap about what we were saying. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those times like, hey, if you really like this is what you're going to have to do more times than being in the spotlight. You're going to be able to be working out rooms, trying to man an audience.
Right.
At that moment, because you could have quit after that. Like, this is what I got to do. This felt awful. No one listened to all this hard work I just did.
Yeah.
And once you kind of gain your composure and come back to it, that's when I knew I fell in love with comedy, because it was the first thing I actually had to practice, bomb, get humiliated, be humbled, and come back.
That's awesome. So wait, so you're saying the first time you got on stage at that open mic, you bombed?
Oh, hell yeah. I don't even think bomb. I think even with a bomb, it was a bomb that no one looked at.
Right. So, so you're saying, like, I get what you're saying, because like to bomb means to be that people were paying attention to you. You did terrible. They booed or whatever. But you were completely ignored.
Ignored. I got ignored for the Redskins of all teams.
Well, I mean, at least it was in Redskin territory. Imagine you like, playing in Seattle and like they're watching the Redskin game over you. That'd be a step lower.
Exactly.
No. So for those that don't understand, like, you got to think like in wrestling terms, right? So the hero, the baby face, the good guy gets the big pop, gets the cheer, but even the villain, his success is by how he gets booed. So you almost like you want to be booed. That means they're paying attention to you and that they have a feeling about you one way or the other. But to be straight up ignored is got to be the worst. The worst. I'd rather be heckled than to just be flat out ignored.
And it was humbling. And you go home and you meditate and you sit down like, do I really suck at life that bad? And then you come back out and you do it again. And again, I was always, since doing comedy, I was always told that people never remember the guys that bomb. Mm. So you can bomb 100 times. No one's going to remember the guy that sucked. People always going to remember the guy that was funny.
Right.
So it's always a redemption to come back. And again, once you get over that open mic and you did the graduation stage, it was like, oh, this is what it really feels like.
Right.
And now can you go back to open mic land?
Right.
To get back to the improv again.
That is something that's so hard. When I got the chance to perform, so I've I got to do the DC Improv. I've been in Gotham. I've done a couple of big stages, and the hardest thing to do is to have that strength of character, that will to say, okay, now I'm going to go back to the the back door of this seedy place that shouldn't even be open. Like, it should be a health code violation in the first place. You're performing comedy in someone's van, basically. It's a reality check, and it's a gut check to go, like you said, like, is this for me? Is this something I really want to do? Because there are no comedians that like did this one thing and then boom, exploded, and then they're selling out houses. Like, you have to go through the miles of shit to get to something that's good.
And it's humbling just to know that even Dave Chappelle had to open up at a Cracker Barrel. It makes you feel like, okay, this is the passage of comedy.
Yeah, this is the way. I bombed at a baby shower. So I've done, I mean, it was my own baby shower. It was my wife's baby shower, which was, I think, hurt worse that I bombed at my own baby shower. My own friends and family didn't think I was funny. So so that's never do a baby shower. That's the one tip I'll give you. Don't
never
do
do your own baby shower.
Never do your own baby shower. There you go.
Like, this is the dad?
Yeah.
You let him impregnate you?
Yes, it's exactly, that's the exact look I got from quite a few people. Okay, so since doing that open mic, or not the open mic, doing the graduation show, the DC Improv, you've been busy, man. Like, we're linked up on Facebook, and I see you getting out there, and I see you, obviously, before this whole COVID-19 shutdown. I see you out there all the time. What is your mindset out there? Like how are you hustling to make comedy the biggest part of your life?
Well, for one, I'm single. There really is no one's kind of stopping me for my own happiness. So that's always been kind of fun. It's like, all right, cool. I can not go home at this hour. I can actually do another mic.
Right.
I could do another show. But what made me like go across the country was kind of anger. Again, when you first start out doing comedy, just to get on the open mics, if no one knows you, then you're the last one on.
Right.
So, you just get off work, you have this new joke you want to tell, and you got to wait till 1:00 in the morning to tell it. And even then, it's like, hey, we just ain't got no time. My fault for making you stay this late.
That one guy went too long, right? That one guy went 2 minutes too long, and you get bumped.
So for me, I kind of got angry. Like, Hallie, there has to be a way to do comedy and not do it this way. And for me, I saw festivals, comedy festivals, and all it was you pay like $10-15 and you send your video.
Right.
And for the powers that may be, if they like you, you get in. If they don't, you just lost $15.
You just paid $15 to be rejected.
Rejected. No one knows. No one knows about my rejections. I have been rejected more times than I have.
So for all the shows I've seen you at, there's how many that I didn't see you at? Is that what you're saying?
If you can count the pigmentation of my blackness on my skin, I think that's how much.
Gotcha. Well, they say success is not written in your successes; it's in your failures, right? It's the fact that you can bounce back and take that and roll with it and get better and evolve and adapt. That's what makes people successful, right? Michael Jordan said, I'm not out here, just sinking baskets because I'm that good. It's
good.
Practice.
I missed more shots than I've made.
Exactly.
But I think that's what made comedy fun again. Because now I'm flying to New York. I'm flying to bumfuck Ohio. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. I've been in DC working on these jokes. These are my best DC jokes ever. And it makes folks in California laugh. And again, I'm from small town North Carolina. I'd never been to New York City prior to comedy. I'd never been to LA prior to comedy. So to go there for a reason, I can do the sightseeing all day, every day, but I got 7 minutes that I got to go to work.
Yeah.
And it made it a better feeling. The comics that I've met along the road, on being on the road, And it was just like I said, it was one of those things where it felt good to have kind of like a purpose again instead of just going to work and back home.
Right.
It was just something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, this is your hustle. This is your side hustle. This is your side piece. This is your thing that gets you excited, right? It's a good thing that like, hey, we all got to have a job. We all have to make money. We all have to live. But this is the thing that reinvigorates you. This is the thing that supercharges you and gets you excited. Um,
And
the,
also, I know my ex is, there's an ex somewhere that's seeing this, and she's just mad. It's makes me feel good.
right on, right on. I'm all for it, man. You want to call her out by name? You want to drop a name there? We'll really
Ooh,
stick it to
I'm
her.
not that brave, man. She will come out of nowhere and just like she'll have a face mask for the coronavirus. Just, ah!
Just spray right. So yeah, so oh man, there's so much I kind of want to ask. Well, I wanted to point out too the tricky situation here is, and a lot of people, this is where they get hung up on is they go, okay, so I'm a DC comic, right? I'm performing in DC and all around DC, and this is a really good area, I guess, for a lot of opportunities for comedy. But like, man, I can't get any stage time, or there's all these comedy festivals, and I keep applying to them, and I can't get in. And I have found in my studies, in my questions, in my asking people, it is way harder to get time where you're from. It's way
Yes.
harder to get booked where you're from because if you, like you said, you reach out to that Ohio festival and say, "Hey, I'm a DC comic," they're like, "Well, shit, we've got a ton of Ohio comics here. Come on out, bring your DC ass over here." Same thing with California, same thing with New York, or where if you are a New York comic and you don't need to be a successful one, but again, you like, hey, I'm gonna be in Pennsylvania. I'm a New York comic. I'm like, yeah, we don't get a lot of
Oh,
those,
yeah.
so so it's way easier the more you're willing to put the time to travel, like you said, and unfortunately, it is what it is. I got a wife and kid. It's so hard for me to pick up and go do. I get these opportunities that pop up. I would love to be hitting mics every night, right? And say like,
Mhm.
there's this one on Tuesday, there's this one on Wednesday, this one on Thursday, and build up that level of just getting out there and doing it, that repetition, that comfort, um,
Yeah,
working the material and all these things. It's hard, right? Life.
dude. Trust me. Like I said, for me being single, I have every time I travel, I'm using PTO,
Mm,
and luckily for me, all my traveling is usually on the weekends. At least because again, when you do a festival, you get to choose what days you want to go, what days
right.
you want to do. So it's like, all right, I just missed one day, but I'm still getting paid. It's the easiest way for me to do it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure because I can't imagine because one of my biggest fears because I guess what I'm trying to understand is folks that quit their job
Mm.
to do comedy. I've seen what comedy pays.
Wait, comedy pays? What? Since when?
I mean I mean sometimes it's beer tickets,
Right, right.
but that's my biggest fear because and like you were saying before, it's hard to get put on in the city where you're at.
Yeah.
It's one is favoritism.
Hmm.
It's like I know this guy. It's favoritism. Sometimes it's what you do for me, I can do for you. If you run a
Right.
room and you can put me on, then I'll put you on.
Yeah.
What makes me upset is like when you get there super early and one of the guy's friends come through
Yeah, and they take
and
your
it's
spot.
just like they just slide in.
Yeah.
Like like I had to wait. I had to be here super early. Like there's this one. I don't want to name drop. God dang.
I think if we're talking in DC, I think I know what you're talking about because
There's this.
that rubbed me the wrong way. Where they're like, "Yeah, show up at 6. The thing doesn't start till 10, and I still don't get showtime because 3 of his
Oh,
friends showed up." You know?
there's this one where like you said, same thing. But there's folks that get there at 4 o'clock
Mm,
in the afternoon just so they can sign up
yeah.
so they can get on at 8. And some people they can just slide in at their normal time to get there. I kind of given up on that room because it's like there's no way I can leave my job to do a show.
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's comedy though. I feel like anywhere. I mean, there's some places where you just put your name in a bucket. They shake the bucket. All right, these are our 10 people. Boom.
Yeah.
beat it, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
So
and unfortunately, that's the fairest version you can have. But it sucks, and you're absolutely right. And one of the best pieces of advice. So I was having a conversation with Eliza Schillinger, the
I saw
comedian,
that. Yeah.
and she literally said, she goes like, one of the things you can do if you're pissed that you can't get time, she's like, start your own mic. And like, go find a bar that doesn't do one. Say, look, give me your shittiest night. What's the night that no one's in the bar, that you're pushing a couple drinks and it's not, I will bring in a crowd. I will bring in comics. Work like, you can keep the bar. You know what I mean? Like we'll make it a free thing, and then
do it monthly. Do.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you can get stage time and build that repetition and build that camaraderie with other comics. And again, like you said, I'm putting you on my spot so you can put me on your spot and things like that. You got to hustle. You have to.
I would love for more comedians to. I couldn't do that because I like having friends. But I wish more comedians. I wish more comedians would, because again, I think every comic has their idea of what they hate about certain rooms. I hate how people run this type of room. I hate you create your own space, and comics, if they like you, if they like what you have, you can have like 5 comics and build a room to something great.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It takes headache. It takes a lot of stress. You got to have your equipment. You got to be responsible for your equipment. You got to be there on time. You might have to have a backup guy just so you get sick on that day. They could be responsible setting up the room and tearing it down.
Yeah, that's true.
But I kind of enjoy doing that. Yeah. Honestly, the beginning of new rooms, helping a friend create a room.
Yeah.
It's like, well, look, man, it's going to be crappy the first day. we learn from this, so next month we make it better.
That's what you say. I perform at my best when it's just a pile of crap. You know what I mean? I bring in the best stuff when it's just crap.
No. It's no butterflies. It's just y'all don't care.
No, it's true. It's very true. I for a hot minute. Oh, and I see Steven joined. Hey man, what's up? But so I for a minute I was looking at starting a room close to where I live. I'm not gonna drop that, but I think you know where I'm talking about. And there at the time there was like 2 mics that happened every week, and I stopped by both of them, and they were bad. They were real bad. So I'm like, all right, I can do this. I could start a good mic. I've got a stable of friends that I could bring out that I think that would show up. And I kind of invested my time and effort, and I was like, I even looked at equipment. I was gonna rent it, and I even found a place that I really liked. And I'll tell you right now, because I don't care about friends. But if I'm making friends in the business anymore. But no, it was an arcade. And I thought, man, that would be so sick. Something different. Not a bar, not a restaurant. It's an arcade. And the guy was even renovating one part of it to put a stage. And they were going to use it for like different things. But I was like, dude, that would be perfect for a mic. Yeah. And so, it was going to be this whole thing. And we got through the process. We came up with a name. We built out an email. I was getting the equipment and everything. And at the last minute, the guy goes, I'm not sure. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Come to find out that he got approached by one of the guys that already did the open mic. And so that guy kind of was like, hey, I've got this one and it's running and I've got the experience. You're going to go with this guy that doesn't know what he's doing. And so he went with the guy that quote unquote had more experience. And I'm like, that burned my ass so hard. I was so pissed because I'm like, why does he need a second open mic spot? And now he's going to, I was going to do mine for free. I was going to bring in really good comedians and for what? To go with a guy that runs a crappy one already. And then the first one that he ran ended up shutting down a couple months later. But I think that had to do with the place shut down. But
a lot of people don't understand that the comedy world is a wild, wild west. And especially if you're trying to build a name, but that's what I'm keep going. I mean, sometimes places just not what it's meant to be. Yeah. But you'll find another, and it's again. I've seen more people start doing apartment shows, house shows. People love comedy, and
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I found out. And I've even during this quarantine, there's so many people doing online Zoom
Yeah.
shows,
Virtual shows. Yeah, it's becoming a big
and
thing.
people come through. It's not the same.
Mm.
It's the worst, but
It's something. Don't get us wrong. It's something, but it
it's
definitely
something.
you
It's not.
lose some of the magic. It's
Yeah.
almost like if you were to watch a magician on Zoom, like you
I
lose.
have. It's still really good because I'm like, where'd the ball go?
You have not. Don't lie to me.
I
I've seen like
Oh.
okay, there's the bands that are doing like virtual concerts from their
Yeah.
home and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's good. It gives you something, but it definitely is lacking the magic of being there live in person.
person.
It is something.
Well, because I think especially with comedy, I mean, you can watch uh, Netflix specials on comedy all day, every day.
Yeah.
But the feeling of being at the show,
Hmm.
you're a part of the show. You're in the laughter. You're a part of the laughter that you hear on the TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that you can still hear the laughs on the Zoom shows, but that's just my
It's
that's
yeah,
just,
it's
that's just
different.
me.
Which, by the way, I want to press upon the audience. Anybody that's listening, if you guys like watching those shows on Netflix, you like watching the stand-up specials, look in your local areas. Find open mics. There are plenty that are free, or worst case might be like a buy a drink cover kind of thing on the weekends. But like literally during the weekday, you can stop at open mics. There's nothing better than going and just walking in and listening to people that are they're new or they're fresh or they've been around the block and they're just looking to workshop material. It's so much fun. I mean, right? We've both been at those open mics, right? Smoking and joking at Wisdom and all the other
Mhm.
ones. There's a ton of them in DC, the DC area. There's a fun nature about it. If you ever want to just see what comedians are like, grouped together and just shooting the shit and just being themselves, those are the best places to check it out. So I highly recommend if you're in any big market. I mean, maybe if you're in the middle of Idaho in some field, you're probably not going to find one. But if you're in any city, really, there's open mics out there. You guys should definitely check them out.
Oh, I mean, honestly, like once this quarantine is over, because right now people are on their dating app losing their mind. People got dates set up when this is over.
right.
Take them to an open mic if you want to know what kind of person they really are
Mm,
and what they laugh at, what their opinions are on things.
mm.
An open mic is the best place to actually know a person.
Oh yeah, that's a good blind
And
date spot, man. You really get to know a person without saying a thing.
it's like, and it, I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that, and it sucks. I gotta go and be like, I have to pretend. Yeah, I don't know this place. Yeah, Madam's Organ. What?
So okay, so we got a message from there's a mixer, and he said live from the rooftop. You joke, but and Quentin, I don't know if I believe we've both done this. Have you done the rooftop shows that ASAP does?
I done it once maybe twice.
Yeah. So there
But
are rooftop shows. They do happen.
but again, like I think I kicked my opportunities with ASAP shows. They it's the material that I talk about. They
Yeah.
do not want me anywhere around.
Well, and here's the thing. I do give you a lot of credit because you are a veteran and there's a lot of humor in doing veteran material, but you're one of a handful of a certain many that don't really do, like we said, you don't really do military humor. You utilize dating, you utilize your background, your history, your childhood, all these different aspects, but you don't really dive into the military stuff of it. And you said it was because you worry that certain audiences it wouldn't work for them. So I mean I give you tremendous kudos because it's almost, I don't want to say it's lazy. It's almost a little easy to fall back on because the military is just so ridiculous. The humor in it is so ridiculous. It's almost easy to make fun of it.
Well, because in DC we have a huge veteran population in DC.
Right.
Like I can talk about, again, I have this bit about the different military branches comparing them to dating apps.
Right.
Love it. Take that to anywhere else. It's a lot of people don't understand. Oh, why is the Navy like Grinder? I don't understand. what does that even mean? And
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's true. It's true. I definitely get you. Hey, you know, Radar, you've been quiet. I mean, do you have any questions? I feel like I always hog up all the time here, so I'm gonna give you a shot here, bud.
Oh no, man, you're good. I just listen. Man, I'm laughing. I'm over here rolling. I'm trying to like because you guys just want to hear me laugh for like 45 minutes. Like, this dude needs to shut up, man. We're funny, we get it, but that fat dude in the corner can shut the fuck up. We don't even know that, you know? I'm just laughing, man. You guys are hilarious. And like to listen to you guys banter back and forth, God, it's awesome. It's fucking awesome. I love it.
That's the best part about being like, people always ask like, Quentin, why do you still continue being a comedian?
Right.
The rest of the world no one talks to each other like comedians talk to one another.
Right.
It's the PCness goes away. It's honestly like being like smoking a cigarette behind your job at the smoke pit.
Yeah.
It's literally just smoking and joking, and that's what it's always like around comedians. And that first night that I realized that, it was like I was at work the next day, like I cannot wait for my shift to end so I can go to this crappy bar.
Right.
And actually talk to people, actually talk to real people. And there are people that I'm not like, if it wasn't for comedy, I would not be friends with them.
Right.
I would walk over them like, oh, you're nasty.
But and you're right though. I have felt before that the comedian community, the tight-knit comedians, it's the closest thing to kind of like being back in the service. The way, the camaraderie that you had with your fellow soldiers, airmen, whatever, the ones you liked anyway, that's the closest thing I have come to find, is that group of comedians. And now, of course, I do hang out with mostly veteran comedians, but just the comedians in general do have that way of busting each other's balls and having each other's back and telling it like it is, right? And not pulling punches. It's the closest thing to service that we've had.
And that's what makes it addictive, at least for me, is I know even if I don't tell a joke that day, if I don't even go on stage, I know I will be laughing today.
Right.
There will be a good laugh somewhere in my day.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Did somebody ask him about the notepad? Does that mean anything to you?
Ask me about this jerk.
The Jay Carter 729 on Mixer. Ask him about the notepad.
Oh damn. So when I moved to DC, I had no friends. I met this guy. Like I said, I think anyone that knows me knows that I smoke cigarettes religiously. I met a guy at my apartment complex, and he was smoking a cigarette by his car, listening to Outkast, like the rap group Outkast.
Right.
And I was like, yo, is that Outkast? He was like, the dude's way older than me, and he's an Army vet too. He was like, what do you know about Outkast? Nigga, let's politic. And we became friends that day. This dude was the closest thing to a pimp as far as I ever knew one.
Okay.
And while he would, like, every time we would hang out, it'd be like it'd be a girl or a different girl. And he'd be like, oh, Quentin, come through. You're funny. And this was before comedy, but I was always writing. No idea what I was writing, but I always had thoughts on paper because I was trying to be a poet.
Okay.
I was going to open mics doing like Buzzwords and Poets doing poetry.
Right.
And I would always just be hanging out with, and I would just be like, oh, what are you writing? And they're like, I get it. No laughter. I had no idea all I was writing was jokes.
Right.
I thought I was writing cute rhymes to get the women, to get the ladies.
Gotcha. So that's the notepad.
That's the note. So I've always been writing, and because of this guy, he was the one that kind of pushed me into like, hey, you're always writing. You should find an outlet. Don't hide your writing. Say this to somebody. You're really good. So that's a good friend of mine, and
awesome.
Shout out to Jay.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate your friend stopping in. No, I think it's so weird. The minute you said I've done poetry or gone on stage, I'm like, I could see that. I could absolutely see you as the guy getting up and doing, like, you. I don't know if it's the mannerisms, the way you speak, the way you enunciate, the way you move. Like, you're very energetic on stage. Let me pat you on the back here 1 second. In that, I always say, so I still do the mentoring, I still do the instructing for a lot of the ASAP classes and stuff. We just wrapped up one class. I always tell the people, like, enjoy what you do. Like, at the very least, like, we all get nervous, we all get stressed, we all get panicky, but try your best to enjoy it. And I always tell them, there's one guy you always have to look up. Look up Quinton Hardy. I said, because when he's telling his jokes, this is material he works on every day, tells the same jokes over and over, but he always laughs. He always looks like he's having such a good time telling the jokes that it's infectious. It's infectious. And that's the kind of thing that I want the newer comics to emulate. Like, don't fake it. And we've talked about this. Like, it's not like, tell this joke, laugh. Tell this joke, laugh. Like, it's not set. It's you're literally laughing at the things you're saying. You think it's funny. And I think that's awesome. Not enough comedians do that will enjoy what they say. Like a Kevin Hart. You'll see Kevin Hart crack himself up on stage. Not enough comedians do that. They take their material so seriously. Or I don't know if it's a facade. I'm too cool to laugh or whatever. But it's an enjoyable thing to watch. I highly recommend anybody out there watch Quinton Hardy, watch his clips. You'll laugh and he'll laugh.
See, I'm glad you say that, because since doing comedy, a lot of the older heads were always telling me you need to stop laughing in between your sets. And I'm not laughing at me, I'm laughing at the crowd. Because for me, I've, like every comic, I've told these jokes 1,000 times.
Right.
I know exactly how I want to maneuver in my jokes. It's the crowd that makes it funny.
Right.
That shocking look of, did he really get like?
Yeah, the disbelief that
it's
they're showing you.
That they're like, I cannot. It's that, and it's always the couples, because women don't like me and stand up. I just accepted it.
I wonder why.
I am a guy's comic, and I'm trying to be better. I want to be universal, but when I talk about relationships, it's always on a slanted guy's vision.
Sure.
And when I see like a couple, like, and they're just like, one guy is trying not to laugh, and the girl is appalled. That makes, in my gut, it just tickles me. And it's a great feeling. Yeah,
you're making their night uncomfortable, and you get a kick out of that. You're enjoying that. That's what it is. I mean, I totally get it, and especially you have to think, besides the material you're saying, you're representing a guy who's single, a guy who's without kids, and you're telling them about couple stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, he doesn't know what we're going through," and from a woman's perspective, what does he know about being in a couple? He's ass is single, and all the so like you have a long way to get that type of the crowd back. It's if you start leaning too left, you're gonna lose the right. You start leaning too right, you're gonna lose the left. So I mean, it's definitely your, like, where you're coming from. I think it works for you. I don't care what anybody says.
It's the fun, like, and again, with every new crowd, it's that I know where the punch, I know where the misdirection is, and to watch it work. Because again, if it works once, it doesn't work again. It's like, all right, cool, I got to redo it. I got to retouch it up. But it's that when it works and it works and it works, and you try a new joke in there, and that one works, you cannot help but feel the feeling of telling a new joke and it lands. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, the highest high you'll ever get. It really is. Let me ask you, we got a couple more minutes, and I could talk to you for hours, absolute hours.
I miss you, bro.
Absolutely. This is killing me. How much do you get to flex that kind of improv muscle where obviously your jokes? How much of it are you trying to capture the moment or interact with the audience or poke fun or just, what I mean? Like how much opportunity do you get for that?
Honestly, I think you just got to know your rooms. There's some like if I'm ever at the DC Improv or at the Draft House, I don't have that much wiggle room. I got to tell my best stuff because I want to come back.
Yeah.
But if I'm at an open mic with like 7 people, fuck it, let loose. Let's
right.
Like I'm gonna tell my good stuff to get you like, all right, I am funny. understand that I have a sense of humor. Now let's see. Okay, boom, boom. So, but I read a book that talked about No Joke November,
Hmm.
and you instead of doing the same stuff you always do in a month of November, no jokes. Just talk about your day. Talk about your job. Talk about your walk to. Just complete ad lib.
Hmm.
And it's scary. It sucks, but you're flexing that muscle that you really for 5 minutes a day, or multiple 5 minutes a day, depending on how many mics you do.
Right.
You're flexing that muscle to be funny on the spot.
Nice.
And I think once I started doing that, I can only do it on November,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks because it's like, damn, I have a show. I gotta stick with it.
Mm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it makes it fun because you see so many people tell the same jokes they've been telling for years with no switch up.
Right.
So it kind of just helps to get the fear of telling a new joke away.
Yeah. And you never know what it kind of spawns off to. Let me ask you this. Last question before we let you go. Have you ever been heckled? What's your worst heckling experience?
God damn. Oh, I said something completely racist. I didn't know it was racist. I did
Accidentally racist. Okay. All right.
I did a college show at a University of Maryland. It was right during their like welcome back to class, welcome back to school type of thing. And it was a bar show, and in the front row were a table full of women, beautiful ladies wearing like orientation shirt.
Mm.
I was drinking in the back, and I noticed on the back of the shirt it said orientation. There was a beautiful Asian lady in the front row, and I was like, "Hey, ma'am, I like your shirt. It says Oriental," and I didn't know that Oriental was a bad thing to say. And she had to like tell me, like, that's a bad. You call rugs Oriental, not people. And I was like, well, that's my favorite category on Pornhub, and and I was trying my best to win her back.
Right.
And she was just fed up. She stuck her middle finger at me, picked up her purse, walked away. And at that moment, I realized that words hurt people.
Mm.
And I'm glad it happened, but I'm sad that it happened. Because again, no one ever goes on doing a show. I don't want to hurt. I mean, like
I don't want to make enemies. Right.
But I don't. But at that moment, I knew that I fucked up, but I kept digging. I kept digging that hole.
That's the comedian's code, right? Like when you hit oil, keep digging, right?
But that's why it was a college show, and it was one of those. It's college kids are the worst about their feelings or whatever. And as soon as I got done, and she walked away, and her friend still stayed, which was weird. The crowd hated me. And it was nothing worse than trying to get the crowd back after they just got done with you. So you're just telling your best stuff, and they're just continue. Are you done yet? And and as soon as I got off stage, the host of the show was like, "You know what? You should just fucking leave, Quentin." That was, and I felt horrible. I felt like it was an honest mistake, and I learned a lesson.
There you go. There you go. Lesson to all you out there. Don't say Oriental. That's not nice. Quentin, man, thank you so much for being here, man. This was absolutely awesome. Like I said, I mean, we could talk for hours. I think you're incredibly funny. I wish you all the success once this is all over. I can't wait to follow your exploits. Do you have any social media you want to plug? This is your opportunity to talk to the audience.
Please, my name is Quinton Hardy. Facebook, Instagram is QM Hardy. YouTube, my Cash App is Quinton Hardy. But nah, man, thank you for having me. And like I said, I miss you. I miss your dog. I miss your girl. I miss everybody. Hopefully, when this all gets done, we can all grab a shot together.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, we're gonna go on a quick break, and we'll be back with more show. Once again, give it up for Quinton Hardy, guys. We'll see you. We'll see you after the break. Peace.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Exciting night and I'm feeling low, and you're the reason that I do so. I'll keep on drinking till I comatose, or I pass out on the floor. You got me staring out the window, 8 hours late and you're a no-show. Where I'm from, that's called a no-go. I guess I should have known. I'm sleeping with one eye open, hoping you will make it whole. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. I've done this for some time, but right now I know that I'm better on my Remember when we used to lay in bed and talk the night away? Today it feels like you have nothing left to say. I pack my bags and collect my things. Take what you want, but you can't have me. I'm keeping my heart under lock and key wherever I may roam. Sleeping with one eye open, hoping you will make it whole. You're always on my mind, but right here, right now, I'm better without you. I've done this for some time, but right now I know that I'm better on my own. You and me are heading for a disaster, one I cannot ignore. I'm moving forward, you're moving backwards. I can't take anymore. So come on,